Some songs hit and some songs stick. Others settle quietly into playlists. But God's Menu? It demanded attention straight from the drop, pulling people in on day one the same way it does nearly 5 years later. Success isn't just about charts or awards, but in the K-pop industry you could be fooled into thinking otherwise. Stray Kids have never been the type to chase the conventional markers of success, but with God's Menu, success found them anyway. And we all know all too well, one release can change everything. It's July 2020 as we time travel this week, and God's Menu promotions had officially come to an end in the lead up to Chan's Room episode 63. This comeback was, without a doubt, an unrivaled turning point in Stray Kids' career so far, with God's Menu hitting number 4 on Billboard's World Digital Song Sales chart, and the music video hitting 50 million views in just 11 days, making it their fastest growing release at the time. This shift was undeniable, and yet there were no music show wins for God's Menu, something that hits a nerve for stays even now. And honestly, feeling like it all defies logic is understandable, but context matters, especially here. God's Menu dropped in the same window as 17's Left and Right, Blackpink's How You Like That, and iZone's Secret Story of the Swan, going up against several digital powerhouses in the industry at the same time. Add to that the fact that Stray Kids' fan base skewed more international than most, and the numbers start making more sense. Music show wins are weighted heavily towards domestic streaming, and international success, no matter how massive, doesn't always translate on that scoreboard. But that's the thing about Stray Kids. They weren't built for the system. They were built for something bigger. Success doesn't always show up where you expect it. In 2020, it wasn't measured in trophies. It was the way God's Menu kept pulling people in, reaction videos piling up, and more casual listeners outside of K-pop taking notice. It was in the streaming numbers climbing, the way Stray Kids' name started circulating beyond the usual circles. It was in the shift that was happening, the undeniable momentum building around them. The kids were definitely enjoying this success, but they weren't letting it go to their heads either. Transitioning out of the God's Menu promotional period, leaning into promoting Go Live's B-side, Easy, a track with its own understated confidence. There was something almost poetic about this. Where God's Menu hit like an explosion, Easy felt deceptively effortless, like a knowing smirk. A group who understands that their momentum isn't stopping just because the industry hadn't been able to catch up yet. At this point, Stay's heads were spinning. God's Menu had hit so hard in the best way, and this comeback had been an absolute whirlwind, but the kids are only ever moving forward. This week, the music video for Easy dropped alongside the fan chant guide and dance practice videos. Easy really leans into the idea of moving forward, with Stray Kids pushing past obstacles, keeping their heads held high even when things aren't going the way people expect, which honestly makes it a perfect fit for this moment. They weren't following the usual blueprint for success, but that never defined them in the first place. Their true victories have always been unfolding elsewhere. What's always mattered more than numbers for Stray Kids is how they show up, especially for Stay. Take the M-Wave meet and greet, for example, a structured online event where fans could buy signed albums and leave messages for the kids while they chatted with fans worldwide. These kinds of events were a staple of big comebacks, but that didn't make them any less meaningful. Stray Kids weren't just promoting an album here, they were showing up to share in the excitement of it all with Stay, too. Beyond official content, there were the moments that kept them connected. Changbin went live, joined by Seungmin, and a rooftop V Live had the kids making shaved ice on the roof of the JYPE building, goofing off, just being themselves, keeping that familiar rhythm of showing up, sharing moments, letting Stay in on it all. And that was the spirit behind the mini fan meeting that came up this week too. Not really a fan meeting at all, just an OT8V Live where the kids played games, joked around, and spent time with Stay. Mini fan meetings during comebacks usually mean gathering in person, chatting, messing around, sharing that moment face to face. In 2020, with COVID-19 restrictions in place, that wasn't an option, so they adjusted. This wasn't really about recreating what had been lost though. It was about making the most of what they had. Just them going live to be there, because in a moment this big, what mattered most was sharing it with Stay. Even with Easy stepping into the spotlight, we know full well God's Menu wasn't going anywhere. The kids performed it alongside Miro for World is One 2020, an online charity concert organized by MBC and World Vision to support COVID relief efforts. At a time when the world itself felt disconnected, Stray Kids were part of something designed to bridge that gap, to bring energy and strength to people who needed it. I know this is just me projecting here, but being able to participate in an event like this seems like it would be just as important, if not more important, than winning trophies. You know, success doesn't always show up where you expect it. For Go Live's comeback, it wasn't in the trophy case, but it was in the way God's Menu felt. It was in the flood of new baby stays, in the packed comment sections of lives, and the way people who had never heard of Stray Kids were suddenly asking, who are these guys? It was in the way their music was resonating beyond the usual K-pop circles. It was in the shift that was happening, visible or not. Back then, the weight of that shift wasn't really clear. Everything was moving so fast. God's Menu had thrown open doors. This week, Easy was keeping the momentum rolling, and there was barely time to process what was happening before they were on to the next thing. But unsurprisingly, through all of it, Chan's room remained. No matter how much changed, no matter how overwhelming all of it got, there was always this space, a place where Stay could slow down, take a breath, and share in the moment with Chan. And that's why we'll be here this Sunday, February 16th at 11 p.m. KST to rewatch episode 63 together, because whether we were there in real time or not, these are the moments that have been left behind for us to come back to relive it all. I'll see you then.